In your word, we are free, breaking the chains of anxiety. Since I am everything taken, take my thoughts into captivity. This life is full of opinion, and everything wants my attention. Won't be shaken, I won't be moved. Set my mind on you. So I have decided to choose you for anything else. Anything else, there's no more room. So I have decided to choose you for anything else. Anything else, there's no more room. I have decided. If it ain't lovely, if it ain't pure, I won't entertain it anymore. Now I choose you. No room, no room.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Of course, I know it's a little bit late, but I just wanted to come on here. I felt the Lord leading me today and tonight. Of course, good evening. Good evening. God bless you on this Monday night. I felt led of the Lord to just want to share a word with you. Very quickly, I want to ask you the question: do you know your worth? Do you understand who you are and what you're worth? I'm not talking about how much money you make. I'm not talking about salary, but I'm talking about your value. Do you know that God said that you're worth more than many sparrows? God has placed a value on you. And so you should value yourself. You see, there's nothing for you to prove. You know, I know a lot of you, you're like, well, sometimes people feel like you got to prove things to somebody. You got to prove your worth. No, we're done with that. We want to continue to grow and to be everything that God has for us. But there's some things that I wanted to talk about, you guys, this evening. We're just going to relax a little bit. It's a little bit late, but I wanted to share this word with you because I feel like it's very necessary. And especially during this session, of course, or this season, I would say, this segment. I'm really about empowering the ladies out here. And then, gentlemen, if you're here, I'm sure there's some pointers that you can pick up on too. But God has something good for you here too. So, but just wanted to talk to you all. And it's about you don't have anything to prove. You don't have to prove to people who you are, or there's. It's not about performance, but it's about becoming everything you were meant to be. And again, uh, we have to understand a few things, and I want to go over these things with you. First of all, understand your intrinsic value. What is that? It's a value of who you are, it's your birthright. It's not an achievement earned through productivity or perfection. I would even say, I give it a stretch, I would say it's not even about performance. And it's not even about exhausting performance. Remember that chasing approval shifts the goal post and it leaves you permanently exhausted. Because some people, the more you perform, the more you're going to have to perform. And I'm gonna tell you, let's just be honest here. I am not about trying to perform for anybody, because you know who I want to please is God. And God is not looking for a performance. He's looking for us to continuously grow and continue to perfect that gift, what He has placed inside of us. And then the right people. Those who truly belong in your life will recognize your value without a sales pitch. You don't have to try to sell yourself. They see and they know your value. And the right people will help to build you. They'll help to encourage you and lift you. The one thing I've seen over the years, women, and let's just talk to us a little bit. You know, ladies, one thing that we need to learn, and so many need to learn, is that we don't get any value out of, or it doesn't make us any more than the next person when you're trying to pull down or tear down another lady. It's just, first of all, it's not godly. Second of all, what good does it do to tear down somebody else to make your light shine brighter? My extinguishing somebody else's light is not going to make any difference in making my light brighter. So what do? We can take our light. If we see somebody who's down, we can take our light, our candle, and we can light the candle of someone else. Maybe theirs is a little dim and they need just a little bit of encouragement. You know, what I always say, even if you see another lady, her crown is a little crooked, take her aside, talk to her, encourage her. You don't have to let everybody know that her crown needs to be straightened. What you do is you talk to her, you encourage her, and you say, hey, your crown's a little crooked, and help her to straighten it and be well meaning about just be just mean good, mean well for the next person. And when we really think about other people and we lift others even above ourselves, God is all about us elevating and lifting one another. We are to, there's a word called admonish this, but that's not the word I'm looking for. Edify. We are to edify one another. So again, but tonight, before I get too far off the beaten path, we're talking about knowing your worth. And there are signs to that. What are the signs of walking in your worth? Number one, there's clear boundaries. Sometimes you have to say no without guilt to protect your mental space. So you don't have to be guilty because you have to say no sometimes. One of the best things that I know I've ever learned personally is to learn how to say no. Uh, and sometimes you got to put your interests before others because, it doesn't, people will call you selfish. And I'm not saying don't consider the needs of other people, but when you begin to say no, uh, sometimes you get a little bit, you're going to get some pushback. And then direct communication. Express your needs calmly and directly, without, the guilt game and fear or guessing where people got to guess, think how you feel. You can express your needs without being emotional. No chasing. Learning how to walk away from mixed signals, one sided relationships, or environments that minimize you. You've seen it, and maybe you've experienced it. To me, a one sided relationship is like, oh my God. You ever just been the person who seems to be putting all the energy into the relationship? You're pouring into other people and you're praying for your best friend, and she's really not even considerate. And sometimes you're talking to people and they don't even take time to listen to you. They're not listening to what you're saying. But so you have to know and understand that, you know, despite all of that, know that, you don't have to chase anything, especially people. And you'll learn that the older you get, you realize, you know what, you don't worry so much about what people think or what they say to you or about you. You don't care about all that because the one that you really need to be pleasing is God. And when you please the Lord, you know, God has a way of making, people, He has a way of bringing you into spaces that are greater, that are lifting to you. When you learn how to not worry about what people think, and I believe the higher you start to go, when you start to stop worrying about what people think or what they say about you, it really doesn't matter because they're not the ones who paid your bills. They haven't seen the things that you've walked through. A lot of matter of fact, they could care less what you've been through. They don't care what you've had to suffer. So what do you have to prove to these people? Zero. And then and then that leads us to the next thing. Zero comparison. Measuring your progress. Uh, don't measure your progress. Compare yourself with other people. I always said that comparison is the thief of all joy. A lot you got a lot of miserable people who constantly my parents and when I was growing up, you know how people used to say, "Oh, they're trying to keep up with the Joneses." Or they're constantly watching their neighbors across the street, or maybe you're at work or you're at church and you're constantly comparing yourself. There's no need for us to compare ourselves with anybody. I always say one thing that I've always believed in is that I measure my progress by wanting to improve on my personal uh, skills, my the way I think. Every day I get up and I believe that it's a choice to take inventory of me. Because when I am in tune with God, when I'm listening to his voice, when I'm trying to do the right thing and really understanding that the more I compare myself with other people, the less you begin to take your focus off of where it needs to be, which is on improving yourself, and you start trying to improve. You start trying to look at other people and compare yourself with them. You are a totally different person. You're nothing like them. Nothing that seriously you're on two lives total different pathways. Your pathway is totally different than somebody else's. Your experiences are totally different than somebody else's. And there's no need for you to be trying to compare yourself with somebody else. It's not worth it. It's really not. And then think about all the good things about who you are and what you bring to the table. Focus on improving you. Looking yourself in the mirror and you say, you know what? I'm gonna tell you, it's a full-time job for us to do what we need to do in order to take care of us and our needs. And I'm not saying again, please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying be selfish, but there's a certain it's like a certain distance that you have to place certain parameters. And I call it protecting. You have to protect your peace, protect your energy, and even because sometimes people give too much. They give away, they literally give themselves away too much, saying yes to everything. Then you learn that after a while, you're going to have some discernment. You got to pray because God doesn't want us to run everywhere just because that phone rings and somebody invites us to go and speak or that we go somewhere and we want to preach or whatever. Or they come over, tell us to come over here in Macedonia and we just jump up and go. No, because a lot of people they want to get up and run. They like the attention, but you got to know who you are and not be so worried about trying to perform. It's not about that. I'm thinking about Dr. Maya Angelou. She said, "In a world that constantly asks us to do more, what do we need to do? We just need to be ourselves." She said, "You alone are enough. You have nothing to prove to anybody." And the older you get, the more you're going to realize that, especially when I talk to the young ladies. Even when you might be looking at a relationship or, you've met someone, really know your worth and don't sacrifice your values or lower your standards. Keep your standards high. And there are people going to say, "What she thinks she's all that. Who does she think she is?" But honey, it's okay. Stand by your values. Don't let anyone um, cause you to devalue yourself. And I'm gonna tell you something else. If somebody is constantly putting you down, get away from them people. Get away from them people. Get away from them folks because they don't mean you any good. Anybody who's constantly either, usually either talking about you, spreading negativity, trying to destroy your character is because, you know what, honestly, I believe it's because you are really making progress and they are threatened by your success. You have to be so determined and know who you are and to stand on the what you bring and your value and who you are. Because otherwise, you know, you'll find yourself trying to prove over and over, you know, um, being a yes person, being a doormat. God doesn't want us to be doormats. He said, "You are the head and not the tail. You're above only, and you are not beneath." God didn't place us here to put up with all kind of foolishness from people. And I'm not saying do anything to hurt or harm anybody. And I'm saying, and I'm not saying just go off and go tell somebody off. God ain't told us to do that, but he requires that we walk in integrity. We walk in our truth, which is based out of the word of God. A few more pointers I want to share with you, and then we're going to get off here. Okay. And the Lord, there's some things he wants us to stop. Stop over explaining, stop over apologizing, stop the constant need for validation, and then stop wallowing in insecurities, and then stop being weak because you're like um what's the word I'm looking for? You don't have to be weak. Weak meekness is not weakness. You don't have again, you don't have to be somebody's doormat. You don't have to be weak because you want friends or you want to gain, you want somebody to like you. The Bible says, "Woe to the man whom all men speaks well of anyway." God, honestly, the Lord worries more about us when everybody is speaking good about us. If everybody's talking good about you, I'd start to question it, to be honest. And I'm not saying that, sometimes people, they really mean that. They're going to say some good things about you. But when you're chasing down approval from people, nah, I don't go along with that. And then these are things, okay, so these were the first things that I mentioned is things that you need to stop over explaining, over apologizing, constant need for validation, and then continuously wallowing in insecurities, and then being weak because you don't know how to find your voice and you're just going along with whatever people say just to get along with people. One thing that people often, especially narcissistic people, they hate when you are a person who stands by what you say. They don't like it when you tell them no, but sometimes you have to say no because if it's in your best interest, don't come into agreement with something that is out of your best interest. And then there's the do's. This is the thing that um, you really want to focus on here. Speak with confidence and be truthful and stand firm in your convictions. When you see that there is something true that you believe that's based on truth, stand on truth because truth will trump a lie every time. And then the one thing that I really want to talk about, especially as you get into your older age, and you don't have to be that old. I mean, you can be in your 20s and 30s. But a lot of us, you've entered into what I call your soft era. That's the time period where you're really embracing. You don't feel like you got to be rough and tough all the time, because a lot of times, many of us walk through seasons where a lot of people, and a lot of people have been in survival mode. But it comes a time where you say, you know what, you can flow and you can be soft, but you can be confident even in your softness. Femininity is very, very powerful and you can wield it in the right way. We're not talking about being manipulative and saying things, but I believe again that this is your soft era. It doesn't mean that you're powerless because you're walking in your feminine power. And it doesn't mean that your confidence is out of arrogance because they're two very different things. Confidence and arrogance are They may appear to be similar, but they're totally different things. Confidence to me is positive. You stand confidently. It means you believe in yourself. You believe in what you bring. You believe in who you are. You believe in what your purpose is in life. See the difference? Arrogance is like, to me, is akin to pride. God hates pride. Arrogance arises out of pride because people who are arrogant, they think they can run over everybody. That's not confidence. That's just pure meanness. Arrogance. People just they think they can talk over people, say anything to anybody, do whatever they want to do. No, it's not okay. And I want to say this: you don't have to be hateful or hurtful to be heard. Can I say that one more time for the people in the back? You do not need to be hateful or hurtful to be heard. Sometimes people think, well, the squeaky wheel gets the juice. One thing I've learned, and I've learned it, and I've walked in a lot of boardrooms over the last several years, and I learned a lot. One thing that I learned is especially when you're new in a space and when God has blessed you and that door has come open, one of the most powerful things is actually being quiet. And sometimes the less you say, the more powerful you become. People more willing to listen to you when you're not constantly gabbing all the time. You're not constantly talking all the time. You learn to listen. You learn to read the room. Um, I don't want to get too far off of this, but you'll learn so much just by listening and speaking only when it's necessary. But when you speak, your words will carry more weight when you learn how to speak with wisdom and knowing when and how and where to speak out. And then there's another thing here. There's a time when you can speak up, but you need to learn that what you say, you can say in a tactful manner. And again, you don't have to be hateful, you don't have to be hurtful to be heard, but you can talk and you can say things in a very tactful manner and still garner and gain the respect of your peers or those who are around you. Nasty is not necessary. And it's never the approach. Being nasty with people is never the approach. Some people think that they got all kinds of nasty trophies of nastiness that they built in their personal arsenal or whatever they call it, but it's not worth that because a lot of people have sacrificed relationships because they don't know how to talk to people. And then, but diplomacy is important. Being kindness doesn't cost a thing. And I'm not talking about being kind because to the point where you'll be perceived to be weak. We're talking about being kind and being civil, uh, and being intentional in what we do and helping other people. And then make a clear distinction on what you say and who you say it to and how you carry yourself and the things that you say to other people. The thing is, be very clear and very intentional in the way that you communicate. It's not, and remember, the truth is not just based on your opinion, and it's not based on your perception of what you see as far as things may go. Because sometimes our perception may be off. Your perception is your reality, so you have to check in with yourself. You got to measure your words against the word of God or with the word of God. And then people watch the people who always feel like they need to prove themselves. You don't have to prove yourself to anybody in order for you to be worthy. Because some people, in their eyes, you will never be good enough. You will never be worthy enough. You always have to be proving the next thing and the next thing. So don't waste your time. Don't waste your breath with people like that. And then you're able to become stronger. You're able to communicate more effectively when you learn how to filter your words through prayer and discernment. And then God will place, and this is the last thing that I want to mention here, is that God will place the right people around your table. And then make it a practice to pray and ask God to bring the right people in your life to whether it's doing business. I'm sorry, got my notebook here. Whether you're doing business, whether you are making plans for the next thing in your life, and you're wanting to move forward, and you're seeking God about the plans that maybe you have for your personal life, your business, your profession, whatever it is. Ask God, if you wanting to come into contractual agreements with people, you want to pray and ask God to help you to align yourself with the right people, that He will send the right one. Because trust me, if He's sending the right people, guess what? Satan will send the wrong people. And God will let you know when somebody is for you and when they are not. And then outside of all that, walk in positivity. Practice it daily. Practice how you speak to yourself. Talk when you think, your thoughts are literally, they are words. They are a conversation that you are literally having with yourself a lot of times. And how you talk to yourself will really determine your life. Your words are like, they are the framework of your life, and the words that you use, you are building your life out of what the things that you say. So what you say, again, it carries weight, and it's creating the life. Do you want to create a life that's good? Do you want to create a life of good things, or do you want to live with expectation of good things, or do you sit around and you talk about negative things, and you gossip and you talk to people, and you want to get uh, get all the dirt, and get all the tea on, whatever it is you want to get in on, what's the most latest news about this one or that one. It's not important. And I'm gonna tell you, the older you get, the more you want to begin to. It's like you begin to pull away from a lot of foolishness, and because I'm gonna tell you, you don't have time for negativity. You don't have time for people to be wasting your time talking about a lot of stuff that doesn't amount to anything. And then finally, practice speaking positively every day. Get up, speak the word of God. There's a scripture that says, "This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it." How you start your day, how you talk to yourself, how you think, what you dwell on, what you meditate on, will eventually be your life. And if you're constantly worrying about what people think or what they say, it's like driving a car. You're sitting here driving. If you're looking off all the time and you're not watching where you're going, what are you going to do? Sooner or later, you're going to run in the ditch. When you're constantly worrying about another person, or tearing down somebody else, or trying to bring them down, guess what? You're not really hurting them. You're hurting you. You're hurting yourself when you're trying to tear down somebody. Because eventually, all that stuff is going to come back on you. It's going to wind up, it's going to manifest in your life. You're talking negative about somebody, guess what? What goes around comes around. It's going to come back around. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. But stay focused on the things of God. Continue to seek God, seek His word. Ask God, say, Lord, I want to please you. How can I please you, Lord? I want to know that what I do is, am I doing enough for you, God? Am I in a spirit am I walking in the spirit? Am I living a godly life? Or am I a people pleaser? Do I worry too much about people and what they think about me? I don't. I really don't. I really don't. Because that's not important. It's not important for you either. Don't worry about what people think, but know your worth. This program has been tonight. It's about knowing your worth, because I always say, you will attract who you are is what you'll attract. If you attract people who are positive minded, who are, going places, I call movers and shakers in this world. And if you're a mover and a shaker, you're positive minded. Yeah, I'm not saying that no negative people are ever going to show up, because they will from time to time. But you attract whoever you attract is who you really are. That's who you are as far as your character and all that. It's all important. All of it is important. So as we close out here, be clear on your boundaries, be a direct communicator, express your needs calmly and directly without fear. And you're not here to play games. Clear boundaries say, well, you can say no uh, without being arrogant. You can say no without being mean and hateful. And again, remember I said, you do not need to be hateful or hurtful to be heard, but you can set clear boundaries without guilt to protect your mental space and your peace. And then, you allow people, sometimes you do have to set boundaries. Sometimes you got to say no. Then no chasing. You got to walk away from mixed signals, one sided relationships, or environments that minimize you. Get away from environments where people are always putting you down. If somebody is constantly putting you down, you don't need to hang out with them. You need to get away from them, because what they do, they try to minimize you, and they try to make you smaller than who you really are. You're not small. We're not playing small. 2026, the older you get, the less you have time for that foolishness. I don't have time for it. I don't know about you, but if somebody's constantly trying to put you down, there's something really seriously wrong with them. If they're always trying to find fault in somebody else, you don't need to be around them. My mother used to say, my grandmother, they say a dog who will carry a bone, no, a dog who will bring a bone will carry a bone. What do they mean by that? If they're coming to you, they're talking about somebody else. Guess what? They're talking to somebody else about you. Think about that. If they're always talking to you about somebody, then I guarantee you they're talking to somebody else about you. So don't feed into that. You're not a garbage can. We're not garbage cans. We don't let anybody just come and just talk about eating everything to us. You're not a garbage can. And then comparison. Zero comparison. There's no need for you to compare yourself with anybody or measure your progress against somebody else. We are all on our own journeys. Each of us have our own pathways of life, and everybody has a distinct and unique life pathway that God has given us all. Each of us has a destiny, and you can't take away from mine, and I can't take away from yours. There's nothing that anybody can do. God has given you, He has made you who you are, and nobody can take away from that. I know that for sure. But today, if you're exploring just different things for yourself, you're looking to encourage others, share this message of positivity today, tonight, this evening, in the morning. Share this, or even tonight. Share it with somebody who needs to hear it. Continue to practice positive daily affirmations. And then there's also, we're going to be doing some additional shows regarding this, because I really, really want to empower us as women. It's okay for us to be, like I said, this is our soft era. This is the time period in which we're walking in, where we can walk in our femininity and not feel the need. Because I'm gonna tell you, I see society, and there's so much degradation, and a lot of women are so there's a lot of pettiness, but too, people are just they're not, and I'm saying I'm not saying you have to be friendly, just buddy with everybody, but it's okay to be, that calm, peaceful person. You're speaking, you're firm in the words that you say, but you're not weak. But you walk in your feminine power, and when you walk into a room, people will treat you a certain way because of the way that you carry yourself. You can walk in confidence. You can step in confidence. To me, there's nothing more beautiful than a woman who knows her worth and she knows who she is. So, enough of that tonight. I've enjoyed this program myself, honestly, and I want to continue to inspire you. Read, read good things. There's a lot of good things out there that we can learn from and learn about. And when you get a chance, I have 4 books. I have one. It's called "Prayers for My Husband." It's a wonderful book, whether you're married or if you're preparing for marriage. And then there's another book called "The Well." That's a devotional, 31-day devotional. You can get it, and you can pray those prayers that are in the devotional, and it helps you with your prayer life. I'm a prayer warrior, and I believe in the power of prayer, and so it can transform your life. And then also, I have another book. It's called Believe. That book is very powerful. It's transformative. I share my own personal testimony of my things that I went through, and then I believe it will help to uplift you. And then the final book I have is called I'm trying to think of the name of it. uh, Goshen. It's called Goshen, and that book talks about how the children of Israel came out of Egyptian bondage. And there's a lot of folks who've been in bondage, but this is a very prophetic book that allows you to um, pray and seek God from a prophetic perspective so that you can know what and be prepared for the things that are to come in the years to come. So anyway, glad that you're here to this evening tonight. I'm used to saying this morning, but God just led me to come on here tonight. And thank you so much for all of you who support this ministry, and for those of you who whether you have been giving or you're sowing your seed, God will bless, you sow your seed. I believe that God will meet your needs when you help and when you bless others. And then the other thing is, we appreciate you, whether you purchase a book or whether you give, you sow a seed. We appreciate that as well because it helps us to get the gospel out there, encourage others, and to build other folks who are, who maybe never heard the gospel. But we can get the gospel out and continue to share with the nations. Of course, right here on this broadcast, we're being broadcast around the world. I believe it's over, I think it's 80 some countries and then over 500 some cities. So this is a platform that I believe that God has blessed us with to encourage others, and we want to build you. Continue to be blessed. And again, we thank you for joining us right here on Restored Living with Rosalind Show. And we appreciate you. We love you. Just know that I care, and continue to grow. Continue to first of all come back and watch us. We've got more to come. We're going to be sharing a lot more. And during this month, there's a lot of good things we're going to be sharing. So continue to tune in. And we always, again, we appreciate you for everything that you do that makes all the difference with us, because we want to make a difference in the lives of others. Have a very good night, everyone. And we'll see you on our next broadcast. Take care. And again, we'll see you next time. And then also, again, if you look below, hit that like, subscribe, and share button. And again, take care of yourself. And as we all take care of each other, have a very blessed evening. We'll see you again next time.
I won't entertain it anymore. Now I choose you. Choose you. In your word, we are free, breaking the chains of anxiety. Since I am as a thing taken, take my thoughts into captivity.